What's up, everyone? All right, well, I just finished recording the best recap I've ever done, only to realize I wasn't recording the whole time. How frustrating. All right, so this is gonna be midday market recap, take 2. It is my 13th consecutive green day. I now know my P&L, so you guys don't get the exciting reveal. I'm up $4,862.73. But when I did the reveal, I actually felt a little disappointed because I knew I had given back some profit. I knew that I was up, I don't know, probably, I must have been up closer to 6,000, maybe more. And I overstayed my welcome a little bit on CYCC, and I had a couple other trades, another stock, AVCT, that I was just totally right on and lost a little bit more on it than I thought I'd lost. So that's kind of a bummer, but you know, when you're up $4,800, really can't be disappointed. It's a green day. I'm walking away with money in my pocket for the 13th consecutive green day, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow and try to hit it again, you know, really hard right out of the gates and go for day 14. You know, at this point, and Anna, in the comments, you mentioned yesterday, I think it was Sunday, you know, what's really the point of having a consecutive hot streak? It just ends up adding pressure. You know, at the end of the day, it's really what's most important is a good profit-loss ratio and a good percentage of success. And if you have a red day, it's, you know, it's no big deal. And you're right, 100%. One of the things that I sort of made as a decision for myself here in April was to trade with smaller share size. And so I knew that by doing that, I'd be sacrificing some profits. And so I suppose it feels better that since my profits have been a little bit smaller than they might be on another month, girl up here, that at least I've been able to make up for it by being really consistent on a day-to-day basis. I mean, accuracy has been about 72%, but green 13 out of 13 days kind of is a nice feeling. So I guess for me, it's kind of, it's sort of like a consolation prize to maybe making a little bit less than I would typically make during this type of market. And granted, I've probably got now about $45,000 in gross profit, which is good, but you know, February was a good month, maybe even a little bit better towards kind of the middle, and I was up about $80,000 on the month. So I'm definitely lagging behind my February profits, sort of looking at 2 separate months, but I've definitely been more consistent, more focused on base hits, and that has been paying off. I think not just for me, but for you guys as well. So we're gonna go ahead and do take 2 here. June's gonna help me. She's gonna lead the way. Right, girl? Take 2, midday market recap, day 13, with total profit of $4,862. Not bad. All right, so enjoy the recap. As always, questions, comments, leave them below. Give me the thumbs up for, well, another green day, 13th green day. Give me the thumbs up if you like these videos, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow morning, as always, right around 9:15, I will go live and give you my watch list. My watch list today, well, it paid off pretty well. Off the watch list, NBY, CYCC, did mention BNTC, even though I didn't take a trade on it. We had, well, a few others. We'll get into it when we do the recap. All right, so let's jump into that recap. What's up, everyone? All right, so we're gonna do midday market recap here. Today is Monday the 13th, the 13th consecutive green day. You can see the P&L here, $4,862.73. Not a bad start to the week at all. Although I do have a loss here on AVCT of over $2,000. This was a total of 4 trades that resulted in that loss. And it is a little disappointing because I think that's the most red I've been on a stock this month. And on CYCC, the one that I'm the most green on, I had one trade on it that was kind of high risk. And so I'm a little, today was probably my least clean day of the month. In terms of a clean day would be when I come in, I have 2 stocks off the watch list, I trade those 2 stocks and I walk away, with anything more than $1,000. That's pretty clean. I come in, I get green, and I'm done. Today, I traded in a number of different stocks, as you can see. It wasn't maybe quite as clean as some of the other days have been, and I am walking away green, but having already probably given back maybe $2,000 of profit on CYCC off the top, and another $2,000 here on this one. So could have definitely been a better day. All right, so let's start at the beginning of the day with the watch list. So every day starts the same way. And this is the nice thing, at least about my strategy, that you can expect that consistency. I start my live stream between 9 and 9:15, and I start by analyzing the gappers, the stocks that are going to be opening higher than they closed the previous day. And that was that watch list or scan of the market was being led by AVCT. So AVCT this morning at one point was actually gapping up over 200% as it tapped $7, $7.32, and then it pulled back really sharply off those highs. I did not trade it as a gap and go, but I did trade it on a red to green move right here. And again, it was actually, they were both right in this area, and we'll see that those trades on the 1 minute chart a little bit more clearly. So I know some of you guys did make some money on this red to green move. I was not quick enough to take my profit off the table, and the winner turned into a loser, which is always disappointing. All right, girl, why don't you go lay down? Go on, go lay down. You're not needed right now. All right, so that was the leading gapper. I'll talk about those trades in a second. The second leading gapper was NBY, and this was a pretty straightforward trade, right off the gap scan, and a total profit about $556 with 6,000 shares. Not bad. So what was the setup? Well, the stock had a pre-market high of about $1.78. I bought the first pullback with 6,000 shares for the break of $1.78, and I was in it basically right at the bell as it started to squeeze up, getting in 74, 75, 78. It hit a high of 85, and I got a really good exit there, basically right at the high of 84, 85. So I took my profit off the table there. There was a big seller, and so I put my order basically right there. I got picked up, and I was out of it. So a nice little gap and go trade on NBY. This is fairly textbook. It was a little extended by the time the bell was ringing, currently with over 55 million shares of volume, but with 11 million already pre-market. So a lot of volume pre-market. The next one on the watch list, BRQS. Interesting because this one I thought had some really nice potential, but the bell rang and it just tanked. I mean, it just totally dropped, and that was it. So I was looking at this for a break over 6, and I already had my order ready at 620, which was the pre-market high, but I wanted to see it break 6. That whole dollar psychological resistance, and when it ended up opening and just flushing, I was like, nope, that one's off the list. So we had AVCT, which was on the watch list, but not for a gap and go. We had NBY as a gap and go. BRQS, not really looking good as a gap and go. And CYCC, I was watching, but I was a little concerned because the price is a little on the higher side. Seriously, girl, go lay down. You are out of control. My gosh. Pre-market high up here at 1140. And that coincided with this level on the daily chart, which was the high 1144 on April 15th, and the 200 moving average, which was 1140. So these were all the levels that I drew out. These levels are all straight out of the Warrior Pro course, and specifically chapter 4, which is daily charts. So we were talking about the micro pullback here in chapter 7, which I'll cover in a second. But this is in the Warrior Pro course, those daily chart patterns. So These were our resistance levels. We broke 1160, had room to 13, broke 13, had room to 16, 1680, 1850, 1960, and then these were the next levels above that. So on this one, I applied the micro pullback pattern. And so what you can see here is it squeezed up right here on a red to green attempt and hit a high of about $10. It then dropped down. When it came back up, I looked at this and I thought, if it can break this, $10 level and $10.50, it looks really interesting. So what I ended up doing is on this candle right here, it taps 10. I know that because that's the high of that candle wick. And so I was watching the level 2 on it. So I'll just move this over like this. So I was watching the level 2, and I'll show you on the 10-second chart what I saw on the level 2. I don't use the 10-second chart for trading. What I'm staring at while I'm in these trades is the level 2. And so what I saw was that the stock squeezed up and tapped sort of the high 90s right here. It hit a high of 994. It then pulled back, and as it curled back up, I said, you know what, this is strong. There's buyers here, there's buyers coming in. I'm getting in this for the break of 10. So I actually bought it here for the break of 10. And my first target was a break at 1020. It broke 1020 and I sold half. It came back down right here, and then I added back for the break over 1037, which was the high of this level, another micro pullback. It squeezed up to a high of 1070. Again, I sold half. Then it pulled back and I added back for the break over 1080, and it squeezes up here to 11. I sold at 1103, and then it hit a halt at about 1122. So I should have held into the halt, but yeah, I thought it was up a lot, and I knew that this one had the potential for some, good sized drops. So I wanted to sell as it was going up and not be caught holding the bag as it dropped. It opens higher and squeezes up to a high here of about 1270, does a micro pullback, breaks up to 13. Another micro pullback here that gives us room. And again, as I'm watching the stock, I'm primarily watching the level 2. I'm watching for my technical resistance points, which I knew were at 1140 and 1205. And as I'm watching the level 2, I'm looking for it to pop up and then pull back. And then as it starts to squeeze back up, I'm looking to get in, and I'm just memorizing this was the high of the last pop. This was the high of the last pop. And of course, it's hitting my high-day Momo scanner. It's moving quickly. So I ended up riding the momentum on this up to 16. And then this is where I took my high-risk trade. This was at about, let's see, what time was this? Close to 10 a.m. So the stock does a sharp pullback right here. And it actually looked like it was about to halt going down at 1363. And so as it was trading there at 1363, I went ahead and pressed the buy button. I bought at 1363. What I thought, and I saw orders going through, but I thought it was going to bounce up, because this to me was a big drop. It was a drop from 1460 to 1360, a full $1 a share, and to me it was due to bounce back up. So I bought there, but then it ended up actually being halted, and it was halted for 5 minutes? I can't remember if it was 5 or 10, but it was halted on a circuit breaker going down, and now I'm long right at 1363. I put out an order to add at 14, and I decided, I was like, you know what? Just before it resumed, I was like, you know what? I think that's too aggressive. Let's ease off this for a second. Let's just see what it does. So it resumes. It flashes down for a second, and then pops up. And as it popped from 1363 up to a high of 14 and up to 1430, I was up 60 cents a share. I took my profit off the table. Then it dropped here down to 1280, and I was like, this was a close one. And then it ripped back up, and I was like, God dang it. I should have held. This thing ripped all the way back up to 19. So naturally, I got back in. And I got back in and rode the momentum back up. And one of my best trades was a long right here for the break of 18 with an exit at $19.21. A full $1 a share on a 1-minute micro pullback. So that was pretty solid, but even after this close call, I overstayed my welcome a little bit, and as it was consolidating right here, I got long again. So I was in right here at 1840, and look what happens. I'm thinking it's going to break over this flat top of 1925. Again, I'm using a 1 minute chart as I'm looking at it right here. So right here, I'm going long, and all of a sudden, boom, it's dropping. So it dropped here to a low of 16.37, and I was long at 18.42. Immediately, I added at the bottom of 13.50. 13.49 is where I added. It popped back up on this candle to 17.87, and I got out mostly break even at about 17.30 and 17.40, and then sold the rest at 17 for a loss. So I did lose probably about $800 on that trade. One of the things that was important for me with this stock was that I was trading with small share size from basically this point on. This was a close call, and so I reduced my share size to between 250 and 1,000 shares through this area. But on this trade right here, I bought 1,000 shares. I then added 2,000, and then I added another 2,000 at the bottom. So I had 4,000 shares, which was a big position, but not at my 6,000 max size. As it popped back up, I got out, but still took a good loss on it. It then drops to the VWAP right here. I took one last trade long at 15 for the break of VWAP. It hits a high only of $15.19 before flushing through the lows of $14.50, and I lost probably another $1,000 on that trade. So this was some really nice action, but I knew CYCC was going to be more aggressive. It was not beginner stuff. It was high risk, and that was because, number one, the price. Most importantly, the price was higher. Number two, the float being really low. And we ended up seeing similar action on BNTC, which I did not end up trading. A pretty remarkable move from $8 up to 16. Well, $8 to $15.36, then back down to 11, then back up to 16. So a roller coaster. I didn't trade that one, but I did trade CYCC, and the other stocks that I traded right here, IMRN, CODX, MYSZ, SFET, RHE. These were all pretty small wins for the most part. There's decent base hits, buying pullbacks and stuff like that. Nothing crazy exciting. But AVCT is the one that I got on the wrong side of 3 times. I had 4 trades and 3 losers. My first trade was a long on this micro pullback at 444, and I made like probably $200. I then got back in for the break over 5, and I stopped out as it came back down. I then got back in right here for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, and I lost on that. And the new high was only by 1 cent, which in hindsight isn't surprising because it was below the VWAP, and I took the trade maybe a little too quickly. And then I had one last trade on this candle here and lost like probably $70. My big loss was when I added up here. I had this nice winner. And again, if we look at this on a micro time frame, you can see how quickly it was moving and where that pullback was. So I had this nice pullback here, which was my first entry right there, nice and clean. And then I decided to add right here at 80. It hit 5. I was up probably, I don't know, 10 cents on it or something like that. I didn't take the profit off the table. It dropped down, and I stopped out down here. And then this candle to make a new high, I think I was trying to I honestly think I was sort of trying to get back a little of what I knew I had lost. And it wasn't a great setup. And that was like kind of right at the same time as that aggressive trade on CYCC. This was like just before that. And so I think when I went into that aggressive trade on CYCC, I knew that I had just kind of messed up my day a little bit on AVCT, and then I jumped into CYCC, and then it was halted going down. And that's when I was like, okay, you're starting to escalate here and get too aggressive. You need to slow down and bring it back down. The easiest trade was NBY out of the gates. $500. CYCC was a little aggressive. AVCT I didn't do very well on, and my entries weren't as dialed in as they could have been. So today was a little trickier out of all the days so far this month, and I can pull up my trader view stats for those that haven't seen them yet, so you can see where I'm sitting on the month. So let's see. So we're going to look at the month of, let's see, where's my calendar? Oh, here it is. So this is the month of April, not including today. It's been a good month. I mean, 13 green days in a row is pretty awesome. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 days left in the month. So the very best I could do would be, 21 consecutive green days this month. We've got 21 trading days in the month. So I don't know if I'll get there. I'm not sure if that's really super significant. It's not a big deal if I have a red day. Like if I have a day where I lose $200 or $500 or even $1,000 or $2,000, it's not really a big deal. But at the same time, it's nice to have some distance between you and the last red day, and I've got a good amount of distance right now. Accuracy 72%, profit loss ratio has been good, but I'm going to have a second loser today because of AVCT that might break this $1,100 record, which is disappointing. So I'll see how things look tomorrow when I import the trades. But overall, I've been pretty consistent this month, and I need to really try to keep myself grounded and centered. And I think today I got a little more aggressive, sort of chasing some momentum on CYCC and taking some higher risk trades on it. And I think I've had a couple of trades that have been bottom bounce reversals that I've done really, really well on. But that's a risky setup. It can burn you because you're buying something going down. It almost burned me today on CYCC. But I did end up getting that pop back up. So I had the right idea, but sometimes if your timing's wrong, you got to cut the loss and it can be bad. So that's it for me. And those of you guys who are curious about the micro pullbacks, those are in chapter 7, part 5, the micro pullback. It's a great way to trade these strong stocks that are moving quickly, because sometimes they just don't want to really pull back and give you a proper or a clean 1 minute or 5 minute setup. So what do you think, girl? Did we finish up? There we go. 13 green days in a row. You're going to be here tomorrow, even though today you've been driving me a little nuts. We'll be back at it. First thing tomorrow morning, we'll do our watch list, as always, 9:15. We'll see if we can find a couple good stocks to trade. And, tomorrow, maybe to slow things down a little bit. I've been capped at the 6,000 shares, but maybe I should try to trade a little bit less tomorrow. Today, I think I may have overtraded a little bit. So anyways, that's it for me. Questions, comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys back at it tomorrow morning for Tuesday, hopefully the 14th green day in a row. All right, see you then. Hey, have you seen my most popular video on YouTube? It's got over 5 million views. You can check it out right here, and check out one of my other videos on YouTube right here. I hope you guys enjoy, and as always, if you have questions, leave them down below in the comments section. I personally respond to every comment that's posted.